The Russia-Ukraine conflict fueling investor worries. And that's part of why this market is down today. Oil is caught in the crosshairs here. Germany's dependence on Russian gas has limited Europe's options in the Ukraine crisis. Price Futures Group senior analyst Phil Flynn is here. Phil, I want to go to the point that Hillary made first, which is that there might be an opportunity here to a certain extent because of the dependence of Europe on Russia for oil and natural gas to create a foothold for the United States. But I smirk at that a little bit, because our production is down in the face of having this door open. So I'm not necessarily sure it would be a window that we could, tangibly grasp onto.
Well, I think it's definitely an opportunity, and it's something that the Trump administration said we should do. They warned Germany that this situation would happen if he became dependent on Vladimir Putin. His track record in the past of being a reliable supplier of natural gas to Europe has been suspect, and here we are. The U.S., this is definitely an opportunity. U.S. LNG exports of natural gas to Europe are already at a record high, and it should go more. The problem is somebody has to send that message to the Biden administration, right? That the answer is a U.S. energy producer that can solve this problem.
Right. No, you're exactly right. And then Jennifer brings up a great point as well, talking about, the relationship with Germany and Russia right now at the moment. It seems like the Germans essentially don't want to see any kind of major conflict because they don't want to disrupt everything the way the system is working. So, it's interesting when you step back and sort of look at the dynamics here, how everything is playing out. It feels like the United States is very much alone in some ways.
It is, and the problem is because Putin really has his gun to their head in Europe. It's not so much Germany; it's the entire continent, of Europe that's at risk right now. Germany was a major player in making Europe more dependent on Russia, but it's the entire continent. Now, interestingly enough, even as the stock market was selling off this morning, oil and gas in the United States were higher. On concerns of conflict, Russia did come out and say, listen, guys, even if they put sanctions on us, we're not going to restrict supply. We want to be a reliable supplier. But nobody believes them. Come on. I mean, they've already been restricting supply to Europe because they didn't get their way with the pipeline approval as fast as they want. So, listen, this could be a major event for energy prices. If you get into a war, a protracted war, it could have a major impact, and I think we could all pay the price.
And I think it will underscore the dangerous situation that we've been put in, essentially, because there's another story that I was talking about last week, which was that our imports of Russian oil have doubled over the course of a year. And you're talking about a country here, the United States, that was the world's largest producer. But now there's a delta of almost 3 million barrels that we've counted, where we've come down at our lowest last September. And you say to yourself, my God, how could we be giving up 3 million barrels that we were producing here, yet doubling what we're importing from Russia? How on earth does that make sense?
It's been bad policy. It's been the way that we put sanctions on Venezuela. We used to use Venezuelan oil. Now we need Russian oil. But yeah, you're absolutely right. At the end of the day, it's been the pullback in the U.S. energy producer. Listen, you and I know, we've talked about it before, Jackie, how the U.S. energy producer changed the world. And I'm not just talking about the price of oil. I'm talking about geopolitics, right? The world, feared the U.S. energy producer all of a sudden. We didn't have to have wars in the Middle East because the U.S. producers were providing this void. And when we pull back from this, you look at the way the world is unraveling. I mean, and so much of global politics is driven by oil and gas. And this is a perfect example of when you show weakness from your production side, how the whole world can unravel geopolitically.
I will say it again. When we were ramping up production, taking advantage of all the technology at our fingertips, making ourselves the #1 producer in the world, it was a national security strategy as well. To your point, it wasn't just a business strategy too. And you can see as it unfolds here, the worries start to mount. Phil Flynn, always good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Jackie.